If the liberation of queer and trans people makes you feel small, you need to really think about where you get your power.
The other day I went with my partner to get a tattoo, and when we walked in, the tattoo artist was a she/her straight person, and by the time we walked out after 4 hours of talking, they understood themselves as a they them, and were opening up all of their dating profiles to non-men as well, and understood themselves as queer. I love perpetuating the genderqueer lesbian agenda.
Welcome to day one of me trying to turn my new kitten, Pinot Grigio, gay.
Hello. A lot of people followed me because of this series where I unpacked some of the characteristics of white supremacist culture. Don't you fucking scroll. Fortunately, a lot of people do understand that in order to unpack these, you have to also be willing to call out settler colonialism and genocide, but there seems to be a little bit of confusion, so I'm here to clear it up. While I could easily go more into why white supremacy is at play here in Israel, I just urge everybody to look at this list. Look at it. How has the government of Israel been utilizing many of these tactics as defenses to justify what they have done to harm Palestinian people, innocent Palestinian people, men, women, and children? I encourage everybody to look at this playlist, but also I really think it's important to note that sometimes people utilize the same tactics as the people who harm them if they don't address the culture that persists with white supremacy. And I mean down to the same propaganda. Blonde hair, blue-eyed propaganda. Just don't seem familiar. To form the connections, y'all. Form the connections. Turn it on. And yeah, you can scroll now.
We found a spider in the house. You freaked and you jumped up onto the couch. Since I was close and able, I jumped up on the coffee table. You said you should kill that. I said no, fuck that. You said come on, be a man. What? You're a total anti-sexist, a patriarchy fighter, but your whole worldview collapses the moment there's a spider. Cool, I get it, this is the real you. It's a pleasure, nice to meet you. Shit like this brings the movement down. Everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
Hey, the percentage of human poop the FDA allows in our food isn't zero. The percentage of human poop the FDA allows in our food isn't zero. The percentage of human poop the FDA allows in our food isn't zero. The percentage of human poop they allow in our food isn't zero!
Have you seen the photos of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce on New Year's? Because if you haven't, they're actually pretty amazing. So here's the sorry, not this one. That's better. This is the photo I'm talking about. Okay, so you can see them. I guess they were out at some party. She has her arm wrapped around Travis, and a lot of people are saying she has the claw. If you know, you know. Oh, what happened? Where did this one? Sorry, I don't know. My TikTok just keeps on glitching. But a lot of people are talking about the green line test, saying that she's not leaning into him, he's leaning into her. But that doesn't really count because we know who's C blocking right now. But don't worry, because there's another photo. This isn't the photo that I picked. What is wrong with... There we go. This is them on one of their friends' videos. Someone took like a little screenshot. She's totally leaned in. He's totally lit. And it looks like they're genuinely having a good time. I think they look like a real couple. I mean, I love this for her. Why not? Also, when I originally saw this photo, not this photo, of course, this photo, I freaked out and then I realized, oh, This one's like AI or whatever. But could you imagine this being their Christmas card? I know the Swifties would go crazy for that.
Here's your periodic update on the state of reproductive rights almost a year and a half since Roe was overturned. Numbers reflect that there has not been a significant decline in people seeking abortion care. Many Americans are just forced to travel for the procedure or even more tragically, to seek assistance outside of the medical industry. There have also been attempts to place restrictions on mifepristone, the medication that is used for medical abortions. It has been ruled in federal court that this pill should not be issued after 7 weeks, but a stay by the Supreme Court has temporarily blocked this decision. Infant mortality rates have seen an increase in states that have abortion bans in place. And as I've stressed many times, this disproportionately affects Black mothers and Black children because racism is overworked and underpaid. The bitch clocks in every day. To the same point, Latinas have also been significantly affected by the Dobbs decision. With almost 7 million Latinas within reproductive age living in the 26 states that have abortion bans in place, they actually represent the largest group of women of color who have been affected by this decision. And according to data, abuse involving reproductive coercion has doubled since Roe was overturned. 2024 will make a full 2 years since the Dobbs decision was handed down. And its effects are clear. A post-Roe society is one that is unsafe for women and other folk.
Hello, good morning. There are several Israeli drones that are hovering over Deir al-Balah in circles. And there are several drones. And this is something that has never happened before. I mean, yes, of course, there is Israeli drones all of the time, very loud voice, but what we are seeing now, several drones going just round around above our heads. Adding to this, the fact of the continuous bombings on the eastern side of Al-Buraish camp and Deir al-Balah.
Ben & Jerry's are Zionists. Oh my god, there was a tweet that was going around last night, and the last time I checked it had like 33,000 likes. And it was someone that was saying that Ben & Jerry's is planning to pull out of Israel by 2025, and they took a very specific screenshot. I'm gonna put it here. It essentially says it's against our values to be selling our ice cream in the OPT, and that's why we're going to be removing all of our ice cream from being sold there by 2025. This is why liberal Zionism is very fucking creative and very clever. The OPT does not mean Israel, okay? And they're very strategic and clever for saying the OPT specifically. Because at face value, you would think the OPT, the Occupied Palestinian Territories, that means all of Israel, right? Like, oh, Israel's the occupier, that's all occupied land, so they mean Israel. No, the occupied land is what is currently recognized by the UN as what's left of Palestine, as in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. Ben & Jerry's saying that they're pulling out of the OPT isn't Israel. The OPT is Palestine. They're pulling out of Palestine. Saying the OPT specifically is strategic language because they have to appeal to their broader liberal, socially conscious consumer base that's now aware of what's happening in Palestine if they weren't already aware of it years ago. So they're using this very specific coded language to maintain this illusion that they're socially conscious and progressive when they're actually fucking not. There's even a section on this page that's like, well, what do you define as the OPT? And then the answer to that question is, well, we define what the OPT is by what the UN defines as the OPT. They can't even explicitly say Palestine because then they blow up their own spot. Because then people will put 2 and 2 together and realize, okay, the OPT is Palestine, they're just pulling out of Palestine, and they still support Israel. And then if you click on another part of the same page of this website, it says that the founders of Ben & Jerry's support the state of Israel. They're just critical of it. That is the definition of liberal Zionism. In the screenshot that this person tweeted, they literally left out the part right below where it says on the same section of the website that they have no plans of pulling out of Israel. And it's crazy because this isn't even the first time I've seen this exact same piece of misinformation spread, and everyone just reshares and believes it because no one's taking the time to actually investigate it for themselves. I probably just got like 30,000 new customers because everybody in the quote tweets was like, yes, they're standing on business. If the business is capitalism and profiting off genocide, then yes, they're standing on business, bitch. Them saying that they're pulling out of the OPT because it's inconsistent with their values. Yes, it's inconsistent if you support the state of Israel and you're also selling your products in Palestine. That is very inconsistent with Zionism. These companies are always going to try and ride the fence and market themselves as being socially conscious when it's like actually impossible for them to do that. And it's really impossible for them to do that if they're profiting off apartheid and genocide. Reading is fundamental, and this is why you need to investigate and research things for yourself before you celebrate too fast. Do your own research and investigate claims, especially when people are trying to build redemption arcs for entities or people that have historic ties to Zionism. If there's better ice cream in the world, don't buy from them.
She say, babe, I'm nasty, I say me too. I like fucking you in public, she say me too. She don't like using no rubber, I say me too. She wanna fuck me cause I'm thuggin', I say me too.
A million homeless people in America. The average age being 9 years old, and I don't give a fuck! I don't care about fucking homeless people!
So I know we've been talking about everything that's been happening around the world, but if you are in the US, you need to listen up right now. Because we have problems here on our own soil that we need to be paying attention to just as much as we're paying attention to everything else, everywhere else. Stop Cop City, and if you're not aware of what that is, I'm about to educate you right now. The Atlanta City Council has approved Cop City, which is a police militarization facility for police officers to train in the heaviest Black populated neighborhood in Georgia. They have spent $60 million in taxpayer dollars to build this facility in Atlanta, Georgia. And it is the largest police training facility in the entire country. This idea was first proposed in 2020 during the anti-police protesting, and the people of Atlanta have been protesting for this to not happen. In January of this year, during one of their protests to stop Cop City, a 26-year-old was shot over 50 times by Atlanta, Georgia police. And the organizers of the Stop Cop City protests were arrested on terrorism charges. And it doesn't stop there, unfortunately. So we all know what's happening with Palestine and Israel right now, right? So the officers out here in America get trained by Israeli police officers in Israel. Yeah, you heard that. They get trained by them. Why do you think we have it so bad over here with our police already? 2020 didn't happen for no reason. This is happening to dismantle the largest Black community in Georgia. On top of that, in Georgia as well, they have actually built a new prison. Put your thinking caps on and put 2 and 2 together. So this is why everybody's talking about you need to speak up about Cop City and you need to stop this, even if you're not living in Georgia, because this is not okay. If you want to learn more, if you want to get involved, please go to stopcopcity.city and get involved. Please spread this around, especially if you haven't heard of it, because I know we're talking about Palestine, we're talking about Congo, we're talking about Sudan, but for those of us who are here in America, we need to be talking about this too. Because something tells me that they're not just going to stop at the largest Black city in Atlanta, Georgia. They're going to be going elsewhere if they can with this. So get involved and learn more about this topic and what's going on and spread it like wildfire.
I come into the freezers at work sometimes to yell about things that frustrate me. The customers can't hear. Did you know that there's a man in the Congo who has his own private cobalt mine inside of his home? At the bottom of the cobalt mine, there is a well of water. Their only drinking water. So he has to drink water that is also mixed in with cobalt or battery dust. And you might be thinking, oh, well, he's probably fine. Well, you'd be fucking wrong. He has a tumor in his throat that's like this fucking big because he's drinking battery water. This battery water being his only drinking water and also his only source of income. You probably already know that a man set himself on fire in protest. You might have been able to guess, but he died. Also, imagine being a Congolese teenager or fucking child having to work in a fucking cobalt mine so many hours a day that after you get off, you don't even have anything to fucking eat because you barely made enough fucking money working in a fucking cobalt mine to buy food. And all of that is happening so that I can have a fucking phone, so I can get on fucking TikTok, so I can tell you about all that bullshit that's happening. That's exactly what it is. Bullshit. none of that would be happening if money didn't fucking exist. There's no reason, no one can explain to me why there is any way in the fucking world or universe why there are people that have to have tumors in their neck because they're drinking battery-filled water, because they have to mine cobalt, because that's the only job that's available in their country, because of someone in another country has a shitty government. It's fucking stupid to think that I'm just now finding out about a bunch of fucking stuff that's been happening my whole life that has been making it so that someone else and a bunch of other countries can be getting killed, murdered, having to be displaced, having no homes, having nothing to eat, having to fucking be starving, and having to work in a fucking cobalt mine when you're fucking like 12 or 5. Anybody bad enough if they were doing all that stuff so that we can like go to the moon or go to Mars or some shit like that, or we can solve climate change? But no, we are subjugating an entire ethnic group of people, almost an entire continent of people, so that we can fucking have vapes and cell phones. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, and electric cars, because everybody wants to think that electric cars are going to be the way to save the world and fix climate change, but they're not. Number one, because the whole thing that is powering the electric car is the genocide of the Congolese people. Remember, the people that have to mine cobalt? So they're expensive, and people talking about, oh, they'll get less expensive over time. Well, that's capitalism, and we already know why capitalism is not going to fix anything.
So I have this theory. What? What? Fingers. Okay, what about it? What the fuck? What? What am I doing with this? I don't know, it's barbecue. No! What? Don't! Stop it! You're gonna...
Has there been growth? I didn't ask how much growth. I asked, has there been growth? Yes or no question. I need an answer. And if the answer is yes, I'm gonna need you to chill. Chill out. Chill the tears, chill the stress, chill all that stuff out that's coming from your high expectations for you to always be perfect or whatever your expectations are, and ask yourself, have you grown? Have you? Compared to yesterday? Compared to last year? Okay, whatever the answer is, especially if it's a yes, really, if it's a yes, I'm gonna need you to clap some hands and celebrate with yourself, because if there's been growth, guess what that means? There's gonna be growth. Because I don't know about y'all, but around these parts, we stay determined, okay? So if there's been growth, there's gonna be growth, and I'm gonna need you to chill out and stop being mean to my friend and be a little sweeter, because they're gonna be growth in the future. So just wait on it and chill. Take a chill pill. I'm giving you permission, okay? Right? All right.
I need everyone who cares about these amazing journalists in Gaza right now to just listen to this. For example, Mu'taz and Bisan and Palestia are all now being accused of being part of Hamas's propaganda and media team. Mind you, Mu'taz is 24, Bisan is 23, and Palestia is 21. And a majority of the other journalists and cameramen and people in Gaza, like these guys, who are documenting the crimes and horror that is being afflicted on the people there, are literal young adults and teenagers. They have been put in a situation every 2 years where the place that they are from is under attack, and a majority of the world does not believe them. So what did they do? They took it upon themselves to photograph and talk and show us what's actually happening on the ground. But the big problem here is that they now have a larger target on their back, as if they already didn't have a massive target on their backs. Not only does it affect them, it affects their immediate family members. So now Mu'taz and Bisan and Palestia and all of the other young journalists are putting out statements like this. I've delivered raw images to the world to watch what is really happening to the innocent people of Gaza. Not funded, moved, or supported by any media or organization to do that. I repeat that I am an independent photographer journalist who's not related to any militant groups or any kind of organizations. I'm pure independent Palestinian. Remember, these young people had lives before. Just a little while ago, Mu'taz posted this. He said, warplanes destroyed my whole university. He watched it happen. The place where he went and got educated so he could create a life and a career for himself. Bisan didn't wake up and want to be a journalist in the middle of a war in her country where everyone she knows is being unalive. Celestia didn't want to start a journal during this difficult time where she's literally experiencing and watching horrendous things happen. These people had lives before this, okay? And all of that was put on hold so they can show us what's actually going on over there. So again, I would like to say thank you to Mu'taz for being our eyes, and for Bisan being our mind and our logic, and for Celestia for being our heart. May they all be protected.
You are not alone. You are not alone. If you are so emotionally fucked up about what's happening in Palestine right now, you are not alone. I am with you. Your feelings are valid. If you are so tired of watching Palestinian children get murdered, you're not alone. It's a very abnormal thing to happen. It's a very abnormal thing for us to witness. You are not alone if you are disturbed of the images of grown men, Palestinian men of dignity, getting kidnapped and abused and embarrassed on screen for the entertainment of some fucked up, deluded soldiers. That's a disturbing thing to see. It's not normal. You're not alone. You're not alone if you are so tired of watching newborn babies die in hospitals. That's a very, very painful thing to watch. You are not alone if you are exhausted of watching Palestinian babies and children cry out in horror, in grief for the loss of their mother, their father, and all of their siblings. There's a new acronym, WCNSF, Wounded Child No Surviving Family. Think about how fucked up things have gotten that acronym even exists. This is not normal. It's not normal to watch the genocide of the Palestinian people. It's not normal to watch our ethnic cleansing in live time. And if you have been deeply emotionally disturbed, that is okay. Your feelings are valid. I am with you. And maybe some of you don't have anybody to express these feelings to. Maybe you live in a household where you're the only one who feels the way that you do. Maybe you're Palestinian and your whole family feels this and there's trauma swirling all around you. Be with me for 3 minutes because you're not alone. You're not alone. I've watched this my whole life. My parents have watched it their whole lives. My teta, my grandmother, is one of the displaced. My Cito is no longer with us. And I hate to say this, but I'm actually happy about that. So he doesn't have to watch what's happening in his homeland. There's a deep trauma for our people. There's a deep trauma for the Palestinian people. There's a depth of complexity to the trauma of suffering while watching our parents suffer, while watching our grandparents suffer, while watching our people suffer, even people we've never known that feel like our family. This is a very traumatic thing to observe. And Palestinians have been robbed of their humanity and their dignity for 75 plus years. It's nothing new, but what's happened the last 2 months is escalating at a level that we're not used to. We're not used to. And if you want to cry, cry. If you want to yell, yell. If you want to scream, fucking scream. But I beg of you, no matter what you do in your darkest of days and your lowest of lows, hold on to your hope. Hope is a Palestinian superpower. Anthony Bourdain, the late great Anthony Bourdain, said they make everything in China except for courage. That's made in Palestine. And we're watching that right now. We're watching how courageous our people can be even in the midst of their genocide. And for their sake, for the people in Gaza and the West Bank, we cannot lose our hope. We cannot slow down. We cannot stop calling. We cannot stop yelling. We cannot stop advocating. Netanyahu and his occupying forces are counting on us to lose hope, and we never will. Your feelings are valid. I am with you. I see you. Palestine will be free because we will ensure of it.
Okay, but why is nobody talking about the fact that Lilo and Stitch is actually just about Stitch? Because I get it, we love our homegirl Lilo. She's all of us. Lilo is all of us. She's neurodivergent. We get it. But Stitch is the main character. The story starts with Stitch, and the story ends with Lilo and Stitch, but it starts with Stitch. Essentially, it's a movie about otherness. It's not about otherness in the sense that it's about, oh, we should all be kumbaya with people who are different because being different is okay. Like, that's not what it's trying to tell us. That is the obvious piece of information that they assume that their audience already knows. And they make sure we know that. They make sure we're supposed to emphasize with the other by making the story about Stitch. What the movie is actually about is isolation versus community. Plus all the colonialism themes in there. You know, we know, we're here. Essentially what the movie is trying to tell us is that if you are othered, do not suffer in isolation. Stitch kept getting into trouble when he thought that he didn't have anybody, when he felt like he had to pull away from the family, when he thought he was his only line of defense against the people who, or, aliens who were trying to harm him. And it makes sense. Stitch grew up alone. He never had people or, a community to rely on. So how would he be well practiced in that habit? Lilo and Stitch reminds us that community dependence is a muscle that you have to exercise and that community obligation is a gift. Bye.